train your Gavin. Read those books in a blink, oh yeah. Grab yourself a hot drink cause you're watching How to Train Your Gavin. Yep, that's me.
Hey guys, welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. I am doing my September book haul. I can't believe I do these book hauls every single month and they're always ridiculous because I have 48 books on this haul. Okay, so a lot of books came out in September, okay? And most of these books are middle grade. And I genuinely think there's only about 6, 7, maybe 8 YA and adult books combined. So there was a lot of stuff coming out at the start of September, but also there was a lot of books coming out on October 1st, but they ended up coming out around about a week or so in advance. And because I pre-order pretty much everything, everything I'm interested in, I pre-order, it meant that I got a lot of books in September. So yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, but I'm hoping next month it will be so much more lower because all of those books came out, you know, September, October. There are some books coming out this month, of course, but it shouldn't be as ridiculous as this. I'm sorry. Oh, brain freeze. Ah, God. Ah. Ooh. Ooh. Ow. Ooh. Oh, that hit me out of nowhere, that did. I think that was the worst brain freeze I've ever had. Oh. Oh, that lingered. Right, I'm not drinking that anymore. So as always, I will start off with the books I got for free, things that were sent to me from the publisher, any books that I got in book boxes, things like that. And I will go from middle grade YA to adult, and then I will go into the books that I bought, middle grade YA, then adult. Without further ado, let's get into it because it might be rather long. Firstly, I did get my Believathon 3 compendium, which you can get on Amazon. And yeah, this is the 65 pages of all the stuff you need to know for Believathon. It has all of the, well, it has the map in, the kind of murder mystery themed map. Even though it's not a murder mystery, it's just a mystery theme for Believathon 3. But it has all the information on there. It has pages for the story I've made up for it, author feature pages, recommendations, and a journal-like page for you to write your own things in. So if you finish a book, you can complete that reading challenge. It's got loads of stuff in here. So yeah, I made this and I managed to get it done before the announcement video went up, which I will link up here somewhere. And yeah, this is the compendium you can get with it. You don't have to buy it. There is a free version of it. I will link the Believathon website down in the description, so you can check that out. If you want a free version, you can download a PDF of it. It's absolutely fine. So yeah, this is one of the first books that I got for the month. Then I got The Castle of Tangle Magic by Sophie Anderson. Sophie Anderson was kind enough to send me this copy. She signed it personally for me. So we have To Gavin with love and thanks for all your support, Sophie A. So thank you so much, Sophie, for sending me this. I read this one on NetGalley a few months back. It was a fantastic book. This one follows Arya and she lives in Castle Mila, and one day this storm damages the castle and she ends up going through a portal to a whole different world to try and save her home and her family. It is a fantastic middle grade adventure and I would wholeheartedly recommend it. And I did have this pre-ordered anyway, so it was a really nice surprise that Sophie would send me a personalised signed copy. Thank you so much. I am doing an interview with Sophie in a few hours actually, so I will also link that either up there or in the description, so you can check that out as well. I can't wait to chat to Sophie, have some beverages, and yeah, it's going to be really fun. Then Barrington Stoke also sent me The Invasion of Crooked Oak by Dan Smith. This is a dyslexia friendly book. It just says that there is a fracking site and it was closed and Nancy's parents have been acting weird. Their eyes are blank, they won't eat, it's like they're no longer themselves, and now the symptoms are infecting others as well. So Nancy goes on like this mission with her friends to find out what's happening at Crooked Oak. So, seems really good. It's dyslexia friendly. I do want to give some of these a read so I can try and do some more recommendations. So I do have more dyslexia friendly books coming up in this video too. So yeah, I just wanted to mention this one. Thank you so much for sending me this book. Little Tiger sent me Midnight Magic by Michelle Harrison and it's illustrated by Alyssa Elwick. And this follows a cat called Midnight. Midnight's looking for a place to call home and Tracey, who is a young girl, is looking for an adventure. They end up meeting and it's a sort of adventure with them too. And this is told in verse as well. It's got fantastic illustrations throughout. And I love Michelle Harrison from, you know, doing A Pinch of Magic and that series, the 13 Treasure series. So this looks like a really cute, fun little read for younger readers, but I do still love to give these a try, and I think I'm going to love it. So yeah, this one seems really cute, and thank you, Little Tiger, for sending me it. Puffin sent me a copy of The Miracle on Ebenezer Street by Catherine Doyle. This one is a Christmas Carol kind of retelling, and it follows George and his father, and George lost his mum years before, but I think one year George and his dad are swept on an adventure to 3 Christmases, past, present, and future, to try and get them to live life in full colour again. So it seems really emotional. I can't wait to read it. I am actually reading it in October, and I think it's just going to be an absolute belter of a book, and I can't wait. It looks so magical. And I love A Christmas Carol too. I think it's going to be, this is going to put me in such a Christmas mood, I think. This is what it looks like under the dust jacket. It has the snow globe on there, and like the gold foil, so that is really cute. Thank you to Pushkin Press for sending me The Hungry Ghost by H.S. Norip and School for Nobodies by Susie Bauer. This one I painted the edges myself, The Hungry Ghost, and I ended up reading it pretty much as soon as I got it. This one follows Freya, and she goes to live in Singapore for a couple of months with her dad and stepmom and stepbrothers, and it's during the Hungry Ghost Festival, so that's when the dead sort of come, and they kind of get gifts and offerings from the living, you know, food and entertainment. Freya ends up coming across a ghost who is sort of trying to find her way back home and to find out more about, you know, what her past is and how she's connected to Freya. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really good, so thank you for sending me this. This is the finished copy. And also School for Nobodies, which is about Flynn, who adopted parents have always kept her past a secret, and a mysterious note transforms her world and sets her on a path to discover who she really is. And then she's packed off to a boarding school. She tries to adjust to the unfair rules. She receives cryptic messages, slowly bringing her closer to her true identity. It looks really cool as well. I'm looking forward to reading it. But thank you so much, Pushkin, for sending me these 2 beautiful books. Thank you to Egmont for sending me Amelia Fang and the Trouble with Toads. They also sent me this really cute hamper box with like a lush bath bomb in it. It had a big Amelia Fang and the Trouble with Toads print in it. And it was such a beautiful, amazing box. I'll put a picture up for you. But I absolutely adore this series. This one follows Amelia Fang, who is a young vampire living in Nocturnia. And this is the 7th book. It is the last book, at least for a while. You know, Laura's taking a little break from this series. Who knows if she'll return to it. But in this one, Amelia's younger brother kind of gets lost. So Amelia goes on a mission with her friends through the Toad Reeds to the pond beyond to see if she can find her brother. And I love this book so much. It's such a great end to the series. And I did an interview with the author, Laura Ellen Anderson, on my channel, and I will link that in the description box as well. So do check it out. She is incredible. Such an incredible, talented illustrator and author. I would highly recommend checking out the series and the interview. And yeah, thank you so much for sending me this and the hamper. I really appreciate it. Pushkin Press also sent me The Elephant by Peter Canarvis, and this one comes out in January. And this one, there is like this great elephant that I think only this young girl can see, and it follows her father who is depressed. And I think it's going to be a really beautiful, touching story about her relationship with her father and how he deals with depression. And with this being a children's book as well, I'm really interested to see how it tackles that issue. So thank you so much for sending me this. It's going to be a tragic, I just know it is. Thank you to Puffin for sending me a finished copy of The Danger Gang by Tom Fletcher. This one, oh, I'll show you Under the Dust Jacket. I have shown this off before in a video. Can't remember what video it was now though. But this is Under the Dust Jacket. This one, it follows a group of kids. I think Frankie goes to a new town, and there's this storm, and it gives all the kids who live in this neighborhood really strange, bizarre powers. So that's something that's going to be really, really good. It's filled with big illustrations. Like, I love like this kind of thing. You know, it has like all of the characters there illustrated. This is illustrated by Shane DeVries. Like, it has like pages like this, and it's just going to be like, I think, a really fast and interesting and exciting read, I think. So I'm really looking forward to it. Tom Fletcher was in McFly, and I loved McFly, of course. This one also came out on October 1st, but managed to get it a bit earlier from the publisher, so thank you so much. Thank you to Orion for sending me The Forest of Moon and Sword by Amy Raphael, and I genuinely don't know anything about this one. On the back it says, One girl's fierce journey to save her mother from the fate of the witch trials, with only nature to guide her way. It is a lyrical tale of courage and friendship with folklore at its heart, beautifully illustrated by August Rowe. And this is publishing on the 7th of January 2021. This is one that you should look out for. I can't wait to read it. I already love the sort of look of the proof copy. There is a description. So it's set in 1647, and 12-year-old Art lives in a small village in Scotland. Her mother has always made potions that cure the sick, and now the townspeople say that she's a witch. When her mother is captured and taken to England to await her fate, Art mounts her beloved horse, taking her sword, a tightrope, and a herbal recipe book, and begins an adventure through wild forests in a race against time. But will she reach her before it's too late? Oh, it says perfect for fans of The House with Chicken Legs. So, excellent. Thank you, HarperCollins, for sending me a finished copy of A Clock of Stars by Francesca Gibbons, illustrated by Chris Riddell. In fact, this is the first book in A Clock of Stars, I should say. The first book is called The Shadow Moth, and this, I think it's going to be a trilogy. So, first book in the trilogy, and I believe it follows Imogen and her younger sister. They follow a moth through a door, and it takes them into this whole different world. And the fact it's illustrated by Chris Riddell, it just gives me such Edge Chronicles vibes. Just, I mean, the illustrations of characters are just going to be phenomenal. You just know it. Oh, but like, look at that. It's a little creepy, but it's Chris Riddell, so it looks really good. And under the dust jacket, it has A Clock of Stars in gold foil, and the stars continue all the way around to the back. Beautiful. Thank you to Simon and Schuster for sending me a copy of The Day I Fell Into a Fairy Tale by Ben Miller. There's nothing really under the dust jacket, so I don't really need to show you that. This one follows Lorna and Harrison. Harrison is Lorna's older brother, but one day he decides that he is too old to play games with Lorna. So one day this magical sort of supermarket appears out of nowhere, and inside is this portal to another world. Or Lorna has to convince Harrison to join her and believe again to stop a witch. So it looks really good. I can't wait to read it. It seems nice and short, so I love the cover as well. So thank you so much to Simon Schuster for sending me this copy. A big thank you to Osmond for sending me The Incredible Record Smashers by Jenny Pearson, illustrated by Erica Salcedo. Or Salcedo. But Jenny Pearson is the author of The Super Miraculous Journey of Freddie Yates. So this one is about Lucy, who fixes broken things, but there's one thing she can't fix, and that's her unhappy mum. Until she comes up with an incredible plan. Along with her friend Sandesh, Lucy is going to smash a world record. Sounds hilarious. Freddie Yates is a hilarious book, so I think this one's going to be both hilarious and heartwarming as well. This one comes out on the 4th of March 2021. Then on to the YA books that I was gifted from the publisher. Only one. There's only one on this list. But that is This Winter by Alice Osmond. This is a solitaire novella, and I think, yeah, it's Christmas Day related. This winter has been a tough one for Tori, Charlie, and Oliver Spring. They're all trying to get through Christmas Day with minimum drama. For Oliver, that means Mario Kart with his brother and sister, but for Tori and Charlie, it means putting the past few months behind them. If you love Charlie from Heartstopper or Tori from Solitaire, then this is the perfect little Christmassy novella for you. Can't wait to read it. It's short enough to read in one sitting, I think. And it does have illustrations in it as well, and it is a mixture of that kind of style that we're used to from Heartstopper with Charlie. Thank you so much, HarperCollins, for sending me it. That was literally the only YA book I was gifted. So onto the book box subscriptions then. In OwlCrate Jr. for August, which I didn't open until September, I got a copy of A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is the OwlCrate Jr. exclusive. I think the cover is just a little bit more purple than usual. There isn't really anything under the dust jacket on the actual book, but there is a map from A Sprinkle of Sorcery on the inside dust jacket there. This is the American version of the book. As we all know, I have and love the UK edition. But yeah, Pinch of Magic follows 3 Widdersham sisters who are cursed to not leave their island, otherwise they will die. And one day the curse is triggered. I mentioned this so much. This is like my go-to recommendation. I'm so happy I have the American sort of edition of this. I was going to buy it anyway, but the fact it was in an OwlCrate Jr. box, oh, it just made my life. And I do love this cover as well. This wasn't the only book that was in there. There was also Straw into Gold by Hilary Mckay, illustrated by Sarah Gibb. This one is really just fairy tales reimagined. So imagine Hansel and Gretel's story from their teacher's point of view. Learn how the story of how Rumpelstiltskin was used by a greedy girl who wanted to marry a prince. Things like that. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And I'm always surprised when I get a second book in a book box. So that was OwlCrate Jr. In my Fairy Loot box, it was Star Daughter by Shweta Thakrar, and this one, I can't remember what this one was about, but it does have these beautiful gold sprayed edges, and it has character artwork on the inside too. Oh, stunning. I will link the video where I unbox this down in the description box. I talk more about this book in there. Then finally, it is The Space Between Us by Mikhail Johnson, and this was in my Illumicrate box, and this has purple sprayed edges, really nice and beautiful. Nothing really under the dust jacket either, but I like to show you guys just in case. I will link the video where I unbox this in the description as well. I remember this one is where you can sort of travel to different worlds, but only ones where you're dead in or something. It's like a multiverse kind of thing. Something like that. It sounds really interesting. Sci-fi. Can't wait to read more sci-fi. So looking forward to giving this one a try. Right, onto the books I bought. So I'm going from middle grade to YA to adult. But this is going to be mainly middle grade. One of the first books I got was Tamarind and the Start of Ishta by Jesbinderbalan. And she also wrote Asha and the Spirit Bird. This one is about Tamarind, and she never knew her Indian mum. She had died before she got to know her. And she ends up going home in the Himalayas. And she ends up learning more about her family there. And I think there is a mystery at heart. And Tamarind has to follow the clues to an overgrown hut, a star-shaped ring that glows, and a strange girl who calls herself Ishta. Then Arusha and the Tree of Wishes by Roshni came out at the start of September in the UK as well. This is the paperback, and the series follows Aru, and she kind of unleashes a demon in the first book, and she has to fix her mistake, but it's filled with Hindu mythology, and this is the third book. I don't know what happens in the third book yet. I'm not up to this part of the series yet, so I need to get on with reading the series. This is part of the Rick Riordan Presents series, but not really in the UK paperbacks. It doesn't even mention it, but yeah, you can kind of tell that's like mythology based, and perfect for fans of Percy Jackson, so I like the paperback versions of them, so I got this. Then The Good Thieves by Rundle was re-released with a new cover and sprayed edges. I've never owned this book before, so I thought it was a good time to pick it up. So when Vita's grandfather is cheated out of everything he owns, Vita is determined to set things right. So with the help of 3 very unusual children, she puts together a death-defying plan, one that will take them all on a wild adventure across New York City. Looks really good. I like Rundle. I liked The Explorer, so looking forward to reading The Good Thieves, and I've heard fantastic things about Rooftoppers, so I will have to read more Rundle, and I can see sticker residue on here. I also picked up a finished copy of Dragon Mountain by Katie and Kevin Sang. This one has like a dragon scale sprayed edge, which I really enjoy, and I really like the first book. I read a proof of it a little while back now, and this one follows Billy, who gets sent to a summer camp in the middle of China, and it's in Dragon Mountain, and there are 4 legendary dragons that are hidden away who haven't been discovered for generations, and 4 kids, including Billy, come across the dragons, and they have to sort of bond with the dragon to unlock, you know, hidden powers, and they end up having to face the Dragon of Death. But this is a series. This is the first in a series. I think the series is called Dragon Realm, and the second book, Dragon Legend, comes out in March next year, I believe, with a blue sprayed edge. So I'm looking forward to getting that finished copy as well, have the matching. Then I picked up Inkspell by Cornelia Funke, and this one is the second book in the Ink. The first book's called Inkheart, right? Okay, the series might be called Inkheart. I don't think it is. But this is the second book. It's the only book I needed to finish it. I had the first and third book for the longest time, but I needed to get my hands on Inkspell, the second book. So now I have the complete collection, and it called me to read them. Never read them before, but I believe the first book anyway is about the main character's dad who can read stories to life. So it sounds really good. Then I had to pick up The Train to Impossible Places and The Great Brain Robbery by P.G. Bell. The third book comes out in January, but I did have the first book in hardback, but the third book is not going to be released in hardback in the UK. So that just did things to my, my collective self, because I love things when they match, and I couldn't just have the first 2 in hardback and not have the third one in hardback. So I ended up gifting the hardbacks to my niece so that she can read them and enjoy them and discover them, so that I can get them all in paperback so they all match. I read Train to Impossible Places for the Wonderland readathon that I co-hosted. We did a live show with the author P.G. Bell last week, so I will link the live show in the description for that as well. Train to Impossible Places, it follows Susie, who one day wakes up and there is this magical train that goes through her house, and she ends up joining this train. It's like a postal delivery service, and it takes her to this whole different world where there are trolls and witches, and it's just a really fun, adventurous, imaginative series. So I can't wait to read the second one, The Great Brain Robbery, and then the final third book when it comes out in January. So yeah, I had to pick these ones up. Then I got The House of Clouds by Lisa Thompson. This one is another dyslexia-friendly book from Barrington Stoke. So this one follows Tabby, and I believe she's lost her best friend, and she's fed up that her granddad is always telling her made-up stories, but one day she comes across a house on the edge of a cliff, and I think she starts to believe her granddad's stories, and I think tragedy strikes as well, which is going to be rather heart-wrenching, I think. I hope nothing happens. Nothing bad happens anyway. But it says tragedy, so yeah, it does. So I'm anticipating that. Yeah, another dyslexia-friendly book that I bought, hoping that I will be able to give some great dyslexia-friendly recommendations in the future. And this looks like it's going to be a really good one. I love the cover for it. And yeah, that's all I pretty much know about it. Another dyslexia-friendly book is Race to the Frozen North by Katherine Johnson. This is the Matthew Henson story, so I think it's based on a real-life explorer called Matthew Henson. So orphan Matthew Henson ran away from his violent stepmother to find a new life in the big city. No one could have predicted he'd become the first man to reach the North Pole. So I think this is a look at his remarkable story, but told in a sort of fictionalized story for children. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I just love the cover of it as well. It looks very polar fantasy too. Not fantasy because it's based on real life, but it has the polar look to it. So looking forward to reading this one, maybe for Polathon. Then I picked up the 11th book in the Lois Bonneville series. So this is The House Where Nobody Lived by John Bellairs and Brad Strickland. Although John Bellairs had died years before this was made, so it's all Brad Strickland now. I mention this all the time because I'm still waiting for now the 12th and final book to come out, which is coming out next month, so it'll be in like next month's haul, like the November haul. But yeah, Lois Bonneville lives with his uncle's a wizard, lives next door to a witch. That's the series. I really enjoy the series. This is the 11th book, so I don't really know what happens at this point in the series. I've only read the first 5 so far, so I need to get to reading them all. I'm loving all the re-release covers though for them from Piccadilly Press. They're so much more accessible and easy to buy in the UK now because of them, so thank you so much. And for seeing the entire series through, thank you. So yeah, I'll not dwell on this one too much, but one more to go. One more to go and I've got the entire series, so phew. Then I picked up the final copy of Scritch Scratch by Lindsay Curry. I sprayed the edges black myself, well, painted them myself, and I did read this as an ARC back in April, I think it was. I really enjoyed it. It's a great ghost story about Claire who joins her father's ghost sort of tour bus through Chicago, where she sees a boy at the back of the bus who turns out to be a ghost, and she has to help him discover what happened to him, where he came from, all of that. And it was a really good ghost story. I really enjoyed it. Nothing really underneath, just all black. But this is absolutely perfect to read during October and perfect to paint the edges yourself with. Then I picked up 9/10, a September 11 story by Nora Really Baskin. So I really wanted to read some middle grade books that dealt with 9/11 before the anniversary of September 11th, but I ended up not having the time, so I might save that idea for next year. But there are some fantastic middle grade books that do deal with the September 11 attacks and the effect it's had on children, on families. But this one is set before September 11 happened. It's a few days earlier, and 4 kids in different parts of the country are going about their lives. So we have, 4 different kids from all different walks of life, and it tells their story, I think, before and then the day and the event happens. I think what happens to each of these kids individually. So I think it's going to make me cry. I think a lot of the September 11 middle grade books will make me cry. I have a few of them now and I do want to read them still. Yeah, I ended up getting this one, but I got it just a bit too late. Then I got The Dark Deep by Ali Condi and Brendan Reeks, and this one is, I think, the first in a series. I didn't realise this, but a few people in my Spooky Middle Grades to Read This Fall video said that this is a series. This one is about Nico, who falls into the murky waters of Spooky Still Cove, and his friends rush to the rescue. Their search reveals more than they bargained for: an island hidden in the mist and an abandoned houseboat which seems strangely alive. So it looks like a really, just looking at the cover, it kind of looks a little bit point horror, kind of 80s horror kind of thing. And also The Switching Hour by Damaris Young, which I ended up reading as soon as I got it because I just couldn't wait. But this one follows a legend. What's it called again? The Bedico. Yeah, the Bedico, and it steals children if you don't lock your doors and all of that. So the main character forgets to lock the door and her younger brother goes missing, so she ends up going on a journey to save him. And it's a really cool atmospheric read. I really enjoyed it. Perfect for October time. So yeah, I picked this one up as well, following some really good recommendations from people. And then I picked up a final copy of The Haunting of Aveline Jones by Phil Hicks. I read this on NetGalley. I really enjoyed it. This one follows Aveline, who goes to live with her aunt for a couple of weeks, I think it is. And her aunt lives in a really small village, and she lives on a cliffside. Aveline ends up coming across a book of ghost stories, and the last story in the ghost story collection is crossed out, so she can't read it. But that ghost story has something to do with what's going on in town. So sometimes children go missing, and there is this ghostly woman who might be behind it, and Aveline is trying to find out what's happened. So it's a really good, really cool and great middle grade read, and the cover of it with the autumn leaves, it's perfect. It's perfect for this time of year. So I picked this one up because it had just come out, and I enjoyed it enough that I think I would reread it again. And then I got the third book in the Pages and Co series, Tilly and the Map of Stories by Anna James. And this one had just come out on September 17th. I read it on NetGalley. And this one I got from an independent bookshop, and it is signed by Anna James, and I got her to personalise it as well. So it says, Tilly, Believathoners in you. I also did a live interview with Anna James on my channel, so I will link that either down there or up there for you as well. And yeah, third book in the Pages and Co series. So Pages and Co series follows Tilly, who is a book wanderer, so she can go into books, and she can also have characters and stories come out of books as well. And in this one, she ends up going to Washington DC with her friend Oscar, and it's just a fantastic series. I love it so much. So yeah, I wanted to get the third book because it was brand new to match my others in the collection as well. Under the Dust Jacket is always gorgeous for the Pages and Co series. Like, look at that. Look at all the stories and quotes and things on there. So stunning. And then I got Never and Forever, the fourth book in the Wizards of One series by Cressida Cowell. This is also the final book in the series. I read this as an arc, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's fantastic, the best one in the series. And Under the Dust Jacket is this one. Love is greater than witches, and it's gold. Oh, sorry, you can't really see very well. It is gold, and true love lasts forever on the back. Like, isn't that just perfect? I love it. The Wizards 1 series follows a wizard called Zor and a warrior called Wish, and they are brought up to be enemies, but there is a bigger enemy after them, so they have to sort of work together to defeat that enemy. And that's like the really, really short version of it, but I explain this so much. But I would definitely recommend this series, especially with the audiobook with David Tennant as the narrator. Fantastic audiobook and visual experience as well. Also Blue Spirit Edges. Then I got October by Katya Balin, and this one is illustrated by Angela Harding, and then it's just like a yellow under the dust jacket. I don't really know too much about this one. I just know that it follows October, who is the main character. Her dad goes to hospital, and a woman who calls her mum ends up coming back. Something like that. Also know that she rescues a baby owl as well. I don't know what happens in this. But, I mean, can you say no to that cover either? It's, like, again, it has the autumn vibes to it. It's just so stunning. Then I also picked up The Monsters of Rookhaven by Padraig Kenny. I am currently reading it. Actually, this is my current read. And this follows a monster called Mirabelle. And she lives in a house with other monsters, like her monster family. And there is a veil that protects her from the outside world where the humans live. But one day, I think the veil gets split. Like, I'm not too far into it yet. The veil gets split, and a couple of humans walk into it. I think a young girl and a young boy walk through the veil and discover this world of monsters. I haven't picked up too much about it so far. I'm still very early on into it. But, I mean, I love the cover of it. It looks so gothic, and it sounds very Addams Family-esque. Under the dust jacket, it is red with a raven there as well. So done. Then I picked up the International Yeti Collective Shadow Spring by Paul Mason, illustrated by Katie Riddell. This one follows a world where Yetis they exist, but they hide from humans. And this one follows different characters from the first International Yeti Collective. And this one is about Henry, who ends up losing his way from school, from the surrounding hills that are around his school. And he comes across Tadpole, who is a Yeti. And I love the green colour scheme of this. I think it it deals with environmentalism and kind of pollution and all of that as well. So I think it's going to be a really important children's book, hopefully. Then I got my most anticipated book ever, and that is Frostheart Escape from Aurora by Jamie Littler. I love the first Frostheart with everything inside of me. I read this one on NetGalley and loved it even more. And this one has gorgeous green sprayed edges with the rune symbols on, just like the first book has the blue sprayed edges. So it's stunning. This is a Waterstones exclusive, by the way. If you want the sprayed edges, you need to get it from Waterstones. Well, the first book follows Ash, who is a songweaver. I mention this one every time as well, so I'll not say it again. But I would wholeheartedly recommend the entire series. This one is shaping up to be my favourite middle grade series of all time. So it's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful book. Incredible inside as well. It is illustrated by Jamie Littler too, and he makes the best illustrations. I just love this book so much. It has like the cutout as well. Like that's the cutout image. Just absolutely stunning. I love it so much. I do. I love it so much. I love you. Then I picked up Hide and Seeker by Dacre Herman, and this was a recommendation from Neeks. I will link her channel down below, but she did recommend this on Twitter. But this is about a hide and seek game gone very wrong. So this is still middle grade. Sounds terrifying, and I believe there's this like man called the Seeker, and as the main character is playing hide and seek, the children go missing one by one, and it sounds terrifying. I can't wait to read it. I'm going to read it while camping outside, and that is a vlog idea for this month, so I can't wait to actually read it. Let's see what's under the dust jacket. Okay, it's just like the sort of that kind of style, and it has hide and seeker embossed in it. You probably won't be able to see it very well, but hide and seeker is embossed with some birds flying as well. So, yep, that's the book. Then I picked up 2 more books from the Murder Most Unladylike series by Robin Stevens. I have Cream Buns and Crime and A Spoonful of Murder. These are the last 2 books I needed to complete my Murder Most Unladylike collection. And it does follow Daisy and Hazel. They make their own detective agency at school. It's set in the 1920s or 1930s. Can't remember now. It's been a little while since I read the first book. Can't wait to finish the series now. I have the entire collection, so I think it's going to be really fun and really interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to complete the collection, so I got these 2. And finally, of the middle grade books that I bought, A Secret of Birds and Bone by Karen Millwood Hargrave. So this one follows a brother and sister in Italy, and the mother, she carves the bones of loved ones after they've gone. She's a bone binder, famous for her keepsakes and charms. And their mum is arrested. The children are taken to the city orphanage, and they need to set off through catacombs and towers to find their mum. So it sounds really beautiful. I love the cover. It sounds gothic, and I can't wait to read it, like I've said about every book on this list. Okay, so onto the YA books, and I wasn't sure if this was YA or children's, but that is Witch by Finbar Hawkins, and I had not heard anything about this book. Nothing really under the dust jacket. It's just like a grey, silver kind of look to it. I'd heard nothing about this book, and then it came into the store and I was like, ooh. So it says, she watches her mother die at the hands of the witch hunters. Evie and her sister Dill are doomed unless Evie can keep them safe, but the desire to avenge her mother burns like fury in her, summoning a magic more potent than ever before or since. With the storm gathering, Evie searches for light in the darkness, a flicker of hope that will guide them to a brighter, kinder world, where Dill can dance and she can be free. You know what, I think this might be YA. Again, the cover is very autumnal, like with the back as well. It's perfect, and I heard nothing about it, so it really intrigued me as soon as I saw it. The first of 3 YA books that I got. The next one was A Song of Wrath and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This one is the Fairy Loot edition, so it has the green sprayed edges. So this one, a vengeful spirit abducts Malik's younger sister Nadia. As payment to enter the city, Malik strikes a fatal deal, kill Karina, Crown Princess of Zaran, in exchange for Nadia's freedom. Honestly, it sounds like such a fantastic fantasy, and I've seen so many things about it online. So I really wanted it, but I also just really wanted the Fairy Loot edition. So I waited a little while to get it, and honestly, it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait for how beautiful this book is. And it's just green under the dust jacket. So yeah, the last YA book I got was Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cassar, and this one is also on my October TBR, and this one, I don't know anything about it other than this has Killer Clown in a pork pie hat. So, and it also involves a cornfield, I think, too. A factory that shuts down and Kettle Springs has been cracked in half. and most of the town believes that the kids are to blame. So Kettle Springs is caught in a constant battle between old and new, tradition and progress, but there is also a homicidal clown with a pork pie hat and a red nose. Wow, I'm sure this is YA, but it has like the kind of adult 80s horror movie look to it as well, so yeah. And finally, the only adult book that I got was The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kwan. It's in paperback because I wanted it in paperback. I have the first book in paperback, so I wanted the second book in paperback. And this is the first book, and it follows Rin, and she completes a test to find the most talented students in the Nakara Empire, and she aces it, so she ends up getting into the most elite military school in Nakan. So I think this goes through her journey through the military school and sort of proving herself, but this is the two books together. I just really wanted them in paperback, so yeah, I got the second book in paperback. Don't know what the second book's about, but we'll follow the first book, and who wants to spoil the sequel when you haven't read the first one? So yeah, that was the last book I got in September, and the only adult book I got in September. So that was my book haul. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment, let me know if you've read any of these, or if any of these interest you. Let me know everything. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!